Section 1 of Love's Testament, a sonnet sequence. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Love's Testament, a sonnet sequence by Constant Lounsbery. Section 1. Dedication. To blank. Let me not with the graving of thy name betray thee to men's curiosity, as if my verse could grace or honor thee, and so confer an all elusive fame. Not humble is my just and simple claim, if in my chronicle a man shall see thy conjured loveliness, and pause to be a worshipper of love's immortal flame. Some pensive lover, lightly reading here, shall start to see the sudden gleaming feet of winged love, so sweet, so overfleet, and tremble that a god has passed so near. But he who seeks thy name must come apart and search the hidden tablets in my heart. Of Love, 1 through 6. 1. As some old minstrel, when the world was young, unlearned in science, innocent of skill, would sing his love beside a mountain rill in his uncouth and all unlettered tongue, and shake the woodlands till the echoes rung from dewy morn to dewy eve, and thrill the listening moon enchanted hours until the astonished nightingale all silent hung. So would I hymn thee, O my soul, delight, while the glad hours after thy beauty trip, and day to day doth whisper thee along. With such a theme all unabashed I might pipe to the morning with untutored lip, or lull the evening with unlettered song. 2. To make my verse the crystal of thy face, my words the jewels blazoning thy name, to lift thy loveliness to lasting fame, to tell thy beauty and to sing thy grace, remembering thee all thoughts else to efface, to light love at thy lips and be its flame, to burn before thee ever and the same, to make my heart thy sure abiding place, to murmur thee like music in a dream, to make reality one dream of thee, to haunt thee with my happiness, to be beneath the bark like an enchanted stream, O poet's dream, all other dreams above, O happiness, O grievous joy of love. 3. When in the world of men and sad affairs I watch the close contention of the day, the toil, the turmoil, and the strange array of petty struggles and of sordid cares, then my spirit fails, my heart despairs, seeing my little fitness to essay the battle, though mine eyes covet the bay that crowns the man who ventures and who dares. For neither wealth nor loud-clapped fame have I to offer thee, O gracious heart of gold. Yet in thy love all priceless wealth I hold, and in thy name I find the spell whereby I conjure happiness, whose dwelling is the refuge and the rapture of thy kiss. 4. At the dull ending of some desperate day, after the stretches of our separate hours, my heart sinks down, and all my courage cowers before the giant life barring my way, calling for toll, demanding that I pay my youth, my truth, my undetermined powers, ere I gain fame or riches, or those towers of tall success that hold the world at bay. To hypocrize, to cheat, to fawn, to lie, to wear men's masks and custom's livery, as does the world I hate, e'en so I do, hating myself until I think of thee. Then as a sudden moon dissolves the night, thy truth redeems my darkness with its light. 5. I would not bind thee with this love of mine, nor hold thee by that gracious love of me, which is my glory. Nay, love, be thou free, unfettered by this fret of mine and thine. Let not possession my love's course define. O thou my pride and my humility, through whom, for whom I love humanity, since thou hast made all human love divine. Thy pleasure be my heart's unique concern, homage and service be my offering, demanding naught, naught asking in return, save only the sweet right thy praise to sing, and my unfailing gratitude to prove, O love of mine, that thou hast taught me love. 6. Yet I would bind thee with this love of mine, hold thee, enfold thee, crush thee unto me, hide thee from all men's gaze, let no man see what loveliness has made me so much thine. Making the circle of mine arms define the limits of thy freedom, selfishly compass thy days, thy nights with jealousy, know all thy thoughts, thy very prayers divine. Beyond the deepest kiss eludes us still some deeper pang of sweetness, and in vain the iron barriers of flesh remain. To separate our unity, I will slay thy sweet body that I may control thee utterly and kiss thee, soul to soul. Of Absence, 7-12. 7. I have not seen thee, love, this weary day, and all the heavy hours of it are dead with longing for that dear desired head, whose absence steals my vagrant joys away. How shall I conjure thee, or what words say of all the sweet words love hath left unsaid? For at his touch all thoughts, all words are fled, like winter snows that take the breath of May. The May? Alas, December's wind blows clear. I cannot hear the murmur of the spring, nor watch the snowdrops first adventuring across the dark skirts of the purple year. Ah, wilt thou come to me, dear love? I wait dumb as the winter, inarticulate. 8. When thou art gone from me, as in a trance with futile steps I wander up and down, a solitary in the swarming town, questioning sadly every countenance. This hath thy smile, thy hair, and this perchance thy voice, less sweet than thine so sweetly known, than thinking on thy traits which are love's own. Through binding tears bewildered I advance, and if I seek within some jeweled page forgetfulness, ah, then most suddenly I turn to show its buried charm to thee. In vain my anguish, and in vain my rage. But when my pen would write as is its use, my very thoughts are absent with my muse. 9. Under black clouds that lower against the spring, among the warring multitude of men, comes one sweet thought again to me, again, the thought of thee, all thoughts else banishing. This is that light that knows no vanishing, that fountain of the soul that freshens when the raging world seems like a lion's den, wherein we cast each dear and lovely thing. Then memory, with hope, linked hand in hand, does homage to thy beauty, and I see thy loveliness that burns through space to me across the ineffectual sea and land. And love, alone of gods by time untrod, raises me up a veritable God. 10. In the wild tempests of the shaken mind, through the deep waters of disastrous days, by strange steep paths of pain and lonely ways made desert and made difficult to find, I struggle up to thee, mine eyes are blind with tears more eloquent than all man says. I grope about me, and the dark betrays my footsteps to the mocking of the wind. But yesterday the flower-stained fields were glad, glad with the spoken wonder of the spring, and all my heart, their joy re-echoing, knew not its sorrow, wherewith it is sad. Today is dark with desolating rain, until thy smile shall light the spring again. 11. Go from me, let the unpropitious hours that hold no echo of thee mock my pain. Thou canst not leave me utterly again. In vain the distance rolls its towns and towers, the loud sea widens and the mountain glowers, and all man's hatred threatens us in vain. We are apart, not separate, nor twain, while love unites this single heart of ours. I dread not life, nor the less fearful death, most futile foes to wound or separate, yet do I fear lest some malicious fate, out of my mouth or by thy cruel hand, shall slay love, as it were with our command, and close for us this paradise on earth. 12. If no night gave thee to mine arms again, if no day lent its taper to thy face, if the oblivion of thy deep embrace were but a memory invoked in vain, if in the murmured melancholy rain, and in the spring I found of thee no trace, banished thy love's sweet secret dwelling place, thy joys, thy sorrows, thy delight, thy pain, if in the twilight of the wilted day, when each sheep nears its fold, each bird its nest, my weary head in vain should seek thy breast, thine answering hand, thy voice to soothe my way, life could not imprison me, for each man hath the right to pluck the ready grape of death. Of Passion, 13 through 18. 13. Out of the treacherous and smiling sky, the unsuspected fury of the storm, the live oaks bend and groan, and tempest torn, their deep roots quiver and their branches sigh, the winged leaves set free go whirling by, as a man's scattered thoughts are blown and borne by that strange force of passion that we scorn, and in our tranquil moments would defy. No tender god is love, but terrible, asking a victim and a sacrifice, and staying not for virtue nor for vice, to whom nothing is good and nothing ill, tempting with the forbidden fruit of earth, wherein we eat of wisdom, life, and death. 14. Thy head is full of scent and colour, sweet, thy prisoned pulses beat against thy throat, one sob that is love's full triumphant note, even as the wind convulses the ripe wheat, shakes thy sweet body to thy tender feet. Some passion sweeps thee onward like a boat, bewildered, rudderless, and set afloat, and flings thee senseless as the storms retreat. And in mine ears the sound of thy delight, and on my lips, O love, thy murmured name, thrilling and filling all the haunted night, blinding mine eyes as with a sudden flame, we playthings of deep destiny, alone with nature's heart, our hearts in union. 15. All ye who come into this sacred place, where every kiss becomes an answered prayer, where in the shining downfall of her hair is hid the face of love against her face, where soft surrender shyly will replace that conquering, that sweet imperious air, pause ye and tremble, and be doubly ware, to worship love apart a little space. For this is Eden, this is paradise, love's wand of magic, love's enchanted wand, upon the lips, upon the whitened eyes, has made ye see, has made ye understand. Watch and beware lest any snake intrude upon your happy dual solitude. 16. Slay me, sweet love, for it is better so. Whatever life may hold of fair or sweet, this moment comes not twice, ere it retreat. While yet we triumph, let us turn and go. Linger not here to watch the afterglow. Here all life's forces war and blend and meet, one golden moment utterly complete, which is our conquest and our overthrow. Love, was it joy, or rather was it fear, that shook the tortured pulses of thy throat? It made me tremble like a quivering note, for on thy face there glows a radiant tear. Behold how calm again the troubled deep, and at our feet the smiling sea of sleep. 17. You ask me if it always shall be so, if I shall tremble when I take your hand, and in your eyes behold the promised land, and linger and return when I should go. If some sweet word of love like fire will blow its flame upon the pulse to madness fanned, and if the heart will hear and understand these nothings that are all we lovers know. The flesh is faithful, but the restless soul, seeking its fellow, will pursue its way, unless across these travesties of clay our separate selves have blended in a whole, till I and thou are one at last, and we lay human hands on immortality. 18. To feel the pulsing of the distant sea, the ebbing sap that swells within the flower, and in thy heartbeat some mysterious power which is not thine, and yet is part of thee, to hear and know the deeper harmony, resolving all the discords of the hour, content, completed, like a steadfast tower, Why, this is love, and love's brief history. To know the shelter, the secure retreat of peaceful sympathy that puts to flight black sorrow's brood like evil birds of night, and make thy wayward happiness complete. To find, when melancholy stealeth on, that touch whose rapture brings oblivion. End of section 1. Section 2 of Love's Testament, a sonnet sequence by G. Constant Lounsbery. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Of Doubt, 19 through 24. 19. The sweet confusion of thy careless touch, thy light, thy languid kiss, thine indolence, thy seldom laugh, thy long indifference, these nothings toward me are, alas, of such an evil augury, fraught with so much, that I am effortless, all eloquence, but aggravates my anguished impotence before the feebling love at which we clutch. O love, immortal love, so mutable, protean love, this worst thing shall not be, but as the May with flowers decks each tree, before the leaves put forth, so changeable is love. Behold where his bright buds have been, the deep-leaved rest of the enduring green. 20. O love, behold me, how I am thy slave, born free and fearless, now an abject thrall, sent here, sent there, and at thy beck and call, bound as a corpse within its narrow grave. Thy kisses fetter, thy commands enslave. How fair thy yoke, yet what yoke will not gall? And then so thinking, suddenly I fall to praising thee. What freedom do I crave? O let me go from thee, or bind me fast. I fear thee, love, lest some day thou shalt say, take back thy freedom, go thine ancient way. Then my unfettered limbs, set free at last, grown helpless to pursue their happiness, shall fail me in the land of loneliness. 21. To myself false, and to my love of thee revealed a traitor, since my daring eyes ignored their allegiance, criticized where they have worshipped in their loyalty. I stand myself accusing loyally, seeking no cunning refuge to devise, self-judged, self-sentenced, while no man despised the crime as I do, weeping bitterly. O pity him who, loyal to his king, or to his God most faithful, wakes one day to find his strong allegiance swept away, traitor or infidel, whose suffering outweighs the pangs of earthly punishment and dooms him to enduring banishment. 22. Yet love me, love, for my great need of thee, whose loveliness is all mine argument, since thou hast poured the oil of sweet content upon the tossed and troubled heart of me. For thy sake, for mine own, how bitterly my little worth I often do lament. My excellent, my impotent intent, futile and doomed to sad sterility. In fabled days of fond mythology, when an immortal loved a mortal man, straightway she gave him immortality. This much thy love stooping to raise me can, so strengthened I should dare all heights, and rise as simply as the suns ascend the skies. 23. Thou shalt not fail me, thou who art my all, whose large compassion clothes my worthlessness, whose hand hath lifted up my helplessness, and in whose trusted strength I stand or fall. Nor am I other than I was at all, when first the glory of thy loveliness revealed my deep, my prisoning distress, and I came forth bewildered at thy call. Not love alone, and love's sweet fellowship, nor the responsive and reiterate beat, pulse answering pulse, astonished as they meet, but the familiar joy of comradeship, all childhood's faith, all manhood's sympathy, in every trivial need leads back to thee. 24. Within the center of the whirlpool, peace. Peace unperplexed is ours this little day. All cares are fled, all troubles stolen away, and in my hand lies thine in pulseless ease. The giddy waves of life, the tortured seas break at our feet, defeated of their prey, and trail their hissing, cheated coils away, since here all strife grows strengthless and must cease. Spring in our hearts and in the gladdening green, the glow of our reflected happiness, clothing the world with light by all unseen, save those who love to worship and to bless beauty, who lives and moves and speaks through thee, beauty which is eternal harmony. A Philosophy, 25-30. 25. When I survey each living monument that speaks the annals of a buried age, and in a pyramid or yellowed page behold a nation chronicled and spent, or when I see some marble still unbent, with its young beauty mocking at time's rage, I envy the old sculptor or the sage who labored in those days of sweet content. All these who were love's chartered ministers from him derived their being and their power, and made immortal their deciduous hour, while unto him their fame administers, for love, which was their source, became their crown, mingling with his their envious renown. 26. Let others pray to progress, those who will with boasts of proud today rebuke our sires. The seasons weary, nature never tires, and man is little moved for good or ill. Blindly he circles, blind fate to fulfill, an animal lashed with the gods' desires, fettered with flesh, while his high soul aspires beyond his force, his courage, and his will. What have we done? Today is yesterday, and as tomorrow has its prostitute, its thief, its poet, its poor destitute, thrust upon life, for life condemned to pay. Greater than Christ is he who shall unbind the curse of money crippling sad mankind. 27. For this men die, nay more, they live for this, and hate and envy, and grow hard of heart, and sell their lives, their loves, debauch their art, and grow more cruel than the wild beast is. Like his their greed, their hunger, and like his their bloody thirst, when in the venial mart, and in the chase they take a bestial part, and sell their souls as women sell a kiss. O noble man, ignoble animal, arise, awake, and slay thy lust of gold. Let each man have his body's length of sod, that we may live and love and hear the call of beauty, e'en as Plato did of old, loving the good, the beautiful, the God. 28. The foul-mouthed world with its corrupting breath vomits upon us all its calumnies, and credits us with its impurities, sowing dissension and the seeds of death. This man from malice, that from envy saith, some ill, their leering curiosities, their cruel carelessness, amaze and please, and evil all things ill imagineth. The natural becomes the shameful nude, and veiled indecencies the natural. O love, let no man guess, no eye intrude on our identities, that none may call the multitude to mock and mire our name, and soil it with the impertinence of fame. 29. What need have we of old or new-born creeds, obscuring the perplexed face of truth, bridling the beauty of unharnessed youth, yoking the spirit to ignoble deeds? Free we were born. The slave, the savage needs the lash, the law, the sordid hand of ruth. Tools of a bygone age, unlearned, uncouth, while growing manhood into godhood leads. All suffering is but stupidity. Then banish sorrow in the name of sin, and let the light of strong joy enter in to purify your hearts and set them free, that ye may share a kingless, priestless sod, and lift man to the vacant throne of God. 30. When I behold how everything that is within the unstable world and shifting sea makes common cause with nature's cruelty, and preys upon its kind, but cannot miss its own destruction, seeing e'en as is man's dubious fate and mutability, and how the immortal God's divinity by time is brought to such a state as this, then I much marvel at love's permanence, who is so lovely and who seems so frail, and yet time's conquering self doth cower and quail before his sweet command and eloquence, from bestial nature he doth recreate. Mortals, immortal lords of life and fate. Of content, 31 through 34, 35 through 36. Poem 34 is missing from our text. 31. The gracious ghosts of those old sonneteers, whose memory glows with an immortal flame, wearing the mantle of a deathless fame that fades not with the falling of the years. Shakespeare and Dante, Petrarch, equal seers, each with his threatening and majestic name, to me, a humble poet, proudly came, as I sat dreaming in the vale of tears. In pity and rebuke I seemed to read on every face at my audacity, till suddenly, in my bewildered need, I bid them look, O love of mine, on thee. Then all astonished at the joyous sight, they vanished, and an unseen voice cried, Write. 32. How shall I praise thee, seeing thou art more than all my singing, or all song to me, thou who hast bid me tune my lyre for thee? Though little skilled in verse or poet's lore, yet would I teach the ages to adore where I have worshipped in humility, bearing thy beauty, crying only, See, here is your Helen, bow ye down before. What god, what altar, what unhonored shrine shall rise for us to take our offering? The perfect joy of happiness we bring, the incense of our song, our heart's bright wine, our passion's glad and purifying flame that lifts its torch to light love's holy name. 33. Lend me thy beauty in the sullen night, to light the tedious desert of my days, to lead me through the dull, ungladdened ways, onwards and upwards toward the healing light. Lend me thy beauty when the sun's sweet might, beating upon my wilted strength, betrays my weariness. Thy beauty, love, always to shelter me and cloak me for the fight. Even as a god with steadfast, joyous eyes, who wears the glow of immortality, conjures the beauty that he seeks to see, so I, O love, whom thy love purifies, shall summon loveliness and breathe its breath, till it smiles down on me the sleep of death. 35. I count it half a joy that I have known the folly and the shamelessness of men, the hollowness of vaunted friendship, when our crying need is indiscreetly shown that every hope and each ideal is flown, that love made soft my weary heart, and then rent it and tossed it into hatred's den, that life has proved the lie all men condone. Since naked, wounded, sick and sore afraid, spoiled by the thieves of fierce reality, lacking all things I owe to thee, my poverty thus richly is repaid, and I replace each vague illusion lost with love's reality beyond all cost. 36. As a fair golden day set in the waste of weary winter wakens with its breath the ghosts of summer from the sleep of death, and gives of spring an eloquent foretaste, till we rebuke the sun-fed hours their haste, and stay the night that memory quickeneth with joy of summer, and with hope that saith, the days of winter are for aye effaced. So in the barren days of life comes love, and breathes its summer for a little day, shed suddenly upon us from above, mortal and mutable, doomed to decay. Then with life's suns and storms beset and slain, it leaves us naked to the winter rain. End of section 2. Section 3 of Love's Testament, a sonnet sequence by G. Constant Lounsbery. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Of Separation, 37 through 42. 37. Oh, how shall I persuade thee from me, dear? Yet loving thee, how may I bid thee stay to share the sorrows of my anxious day, perilous present, future without cheer? Full many a storm-vexed, unpropitious year has trailed its coil of weary months away, and run my youth, whose colors fade and fray. Preparing for my spring, old autumn's bier, I will be eloquent against my cause, and honest and unwilling barrister. Yet though I urge thee from me by mine art, O love, I pray thee, judge not quickly. Pause, and ere thou leave me, hear and register the pleading of thine own and of my heart. 38. From the perplexity of vain affairs, eager for thee, I hasten my return, knowing not busy fate within the urn has cast the fatal vote. None braves, none dares. I call thy name unanswered, unawares, and unsuspicious I repass in turn each empty room, returning. I return again to seek thee, ere my heart despairs. All things forsake me, all things bode me ill. A homeless ghost, astonished in thy room, I stand bewildered, questioning my doom. The very sun to me seems standing still, as if some blow had struck and caused my fall. I know thee gone, I know no more at all. 39. Here where the sudden sundering of our ways looms ominous with melancholy dark, in which no hope conceals the future's spark, to light the unwelcome stretch of weary days with naught of bitterness and tender praise. I would salute thee, friend, ere I embark, as one who dies seeks to erase each mark of wrath, and breathes but peace in all he says. We two like corpses in a single grave, bound close with all eternity between, or else like ghosts who formerly have been sweet lovers, fain would speak, and yet we have no voice, no language, and our lifeless eyes forever gaze their piteous surprise. 40. Silence and solitude and shy-eyed sleep, holding mine eyes awake, companion me, a melancholy and mysterious three, companioning my watches while I weep, so the night wearies and the dawn will creep upon my desolation, till I see and loathe the day, knowing I still must be a sentinel to sorrow in her keep. If death had taken thee, it were no worse. The mere finality must torture less than the perpetual, perplexing guess at life, when every day parades its hearse, till all we love is dead, buried and gone. Thinking to die, we marvel to live on. 41. I hate thee, O my love, that thou hast made me suffer bitterly and uselessly, devoured my heritage of joy with me, left me to face life helpless and afraid, for as a simple child, all unafraid, with sweet familiar trust instinctively turns towards its mother, so I turn to thee, expecting all good things, needing thine aid. The deepest wound will heal with trusty time, so finite are we. Yet were I a god, through immortality, the scar thy rod has stamped upon my life would burn its crime. I know, alas, though my heart break or mend, that hating, I must love thee till the end. 42. There is a height, a depth to suffering, beyond which no man passes. Then at last, when every cherished hope is gone and past, tired nature shelters as beneath her wing. A numbness such as death perhaps will bring upon our senses like a veil is cast. Life struggles slowly till it grips us fast and forces us again into the ring. E'en as a sufferer whom death disdained, thrust back on life with childish wonder, sees the world familiar, strange, so ill at ease I stand beside thee, timid, tempted, pained. I wonder at the rose, I hesitate, and with closed eyes I rush to dare my fate. Of Solitude, 43 through 48. 43. Let me forget, O thou beloved night, fold me about with thy oblivion, cover the day and let the dark steal on, shelter and hide me from the bitter light. Yet once, alas, with what a blithe delight I loved and wooed the glad relentless sun. Wounded with life, poet and simpleton, I now implore thy mercy and thy might. I ask not happiness, nor sympathy, nor hope, nor the eternal hush of death, but timidly I pray with every breath, dream-dipped and star-bedewed, O come to me, pour me thy lethe, though I cry not yet, lest I should love her still. Let me forget. 44. What of the night without thee, O my sweet? Moonlight and starlight were, alas, to me as bitter darkness, fearful utterly, hearing the failing echo of thy feet. And how without thee should I rise to greet the miracle of day? How should I see the colors of the flowers, lacking thee? What life were mine if our lips could not meet? What of the house without thee, and the room where the glad sunshine poured its golden wine, and laughed to know me thine, to know thee mine? The sun would follow thee into the gloom. Life like a flower rests within thy hand, and life without thee would forsake the land. 45. Alone once more, sweet nature, to thy breast, wounded and weary and athirst for thee, seeking thine ancient friendship timidly, I turn aside from love and crave thy rest, and in thy solitude I find the best of eloquent and healing sympathy. Thy strength consoles, thy beauty strengthens me, the mind recomforted renews its quest. The moment comes when every man at last feels his full isolation, and perceives the hollowness of all that he believes, and breaks the mocking idols of the past. Fleeing his solitude, and every one, with silent nature he is least alone. 46. Not from without, but from within, this horde of difficulties torturing the mind. We moderns cannot love. We are too blind to welcome happiness without a word. We must dissect each other. We must hoard dissension and distrust. And we would bind the winged affections, tameless as the wind, making love's harmony one vain discord. Oh, to love simply, to be natural, taking the sun as gladly as the rose, the wise, unthinking, joyous animal along whose veins each force of nature flows, filled to the fingertips and lips with life, insolent with our joy, eager for strife. 47. That I have made thee suffer hurts me most. I am become a hated enemy unto myself, since I have wounded thee. Remorse, regret, have claimed me for their host. Once it had been my glory and my boast, in love so much as lover's vanity, to give thee happiness, when suddenly this joy is vanished like an unreal ghost. Silence were best, for speech is all in vain. When in one look, one touch, all is not said, we shall not understand if love be dead. All living words are hollow to explain. Though with my tears, my blood I would atone, shut each in self, each heart remains alone. 48. Enough of sorrow. I would teach thee, sweet, a new religion older than our own, which, like a well-worn garment, long outgrown, is cast aside as faded and unmeet. A new bacchant I would have thee greet, and hail the reign of joy unhymned, unknown, joy strong to purify and to atone, the winged liberator overfleet. Shyly he comes, unwelcome, with the word rejoice upon his lips, received with scorn, the new God of our future, newly born. The pulsing sap, the stirring blood has heard, life flings its fetters, and with full sweet throat swells the glad cry and strikes the joyous note. Reconciliation, 49 through 54. 49. Some evil dream it was. Again we two, in large contentment, with a glad surprise, read the bright page of love with steadfast eyes, and trim as torch that burns securely true, now blown apart, helplessly drawn anew. Though Eden close for us, we shall devise, with time and tenderness, a paradise, a deeper shelter than the young years knew. Human and frail, capricious, love is proved a conjurer, whose fee is liberty. Only the love we give returns to be the rapture, the reward of having loved. Some fountain singing sunward in the soul will freshen life and make it sweet and whole. 50. My heart is burdened with its weight of woe, its lost illusions, its realities, weary of e'en the memory of these, eager of silence, solitude. Love go, There is no word, however, soft or low, no spoken kiss to touch, to give me ease. I would forget all this for silent peace, aimlessly watching life's incessant flow. The sun within the tendrils of thy hair plunges his golden fingers lovingly. I watch, I feel thy comfort. Wonderingly my head sinks on thy breast. Ah, dear love, where and whence this rest, this rapture? In each breath I breathe the joy of life, the peace of death. 51. When to the wonder of the childish eye succeeds the recent survey of our life, its petty aims, its ceaseless sordid strife, and the eternally unanswered why, dumb and discouraged, without word or cry, securely we advance. A sudden knife is thrust within our hearts. It seems as if life were transfigured like a sunset sky. Nothing has changed, but love has made all new, and hidden in our heart a source of joy. Man laughs as lightly as the untried boy. Freely again his course he will pursue. His lagging feet possess the speed of wings. His touch transforms all trite and common things. 52. We are but human. If we have a soul, we know not. Of our bodies we are sure. Therefore 'tis lovely that we hold as pure their joys and their delights as sane and whole. Though priest and Puritan with bell and scroll condemn the transient flesh and scorn its lure, the flesh alone persists and will endure when such religions pass beyond the goal. Nor shall we fear to name sweet passion's name, hiding our love in solitude and night, but boldly, walking in the sun's glad light, burn up the dross of sin in its pure flame, comrades and friends and lovers, joyous, free, contented to enjoy mortality. 53. Silence and summer like a spell are spread about the night laid naked to the moon. The wind with folded wings sleeps in a swoon. The ripe grass ripples round thy flower-like head. The dew is in thy locks, where the sun fled, and left the colors of the burning noon. White as the jasmine that is shed too soon, gleams that sweet body love has coveted. Love's self, it seems, lies sleeping, e'en a god, tender and terrible, and half in fear, with furtive step and silence I draw near, as one who treads upon an holy sod. Thy soft, sweet laughter mocks and wakens me. Thy human kiss betrays thy deity. 54. Oh, for the hand of Hercules to stay the greedy throat of all devouring time, his craft, his cunning from the fowler's lime, to save this winged hour one little day. For love, who tortured us, would seem to play the laughing god of roundelay and rhyme. Summer's enchantment charms the ungentle clime. A large contentment holds unclouded sway. Yet who shall say how long and why at last nature and I and thou stand hand in hand, we three as one who know, who understand, in simple happiness that has no past. Our suffering, how easy to forget, for where our hands have touched, our souls have met. End of section 3. Section 4 of Love's Testament, a sonnet sequence, by G. Constant Lounsbery. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Of Jealousy, 55 through 60. 55. The soft wind sweetens with the lilac scent, shaking the fragrant boughs of memory. Cross the waking spring, who comes to thee, insolent in his youth, untried, unbent, to him some hostile god of beauty lent, that thoughtless charm that women love to see, the well-carved empty face of vanity, easy conceit, contemptuous content. What word, what welcome, where I look to find that tried indifference I long have known? What sudden pain, what anger, sudden blown, sweeps down the reasoned and resisting mind, wakens the animal unthinking will, to strike, to smite, to torture, and to kill? 56. I cannot smile beside thee, take his hand, knowing his trifling worth, his emptiness, the light contempt that he could thus possess thy precious favor, even as he planned, I cannot leave thee, rooted I must stand, self-tortured, self-perplexed, in keen distress, suffer the shame of jealousy, confess this instinct common to the brutish band. I cannot hate thee, since I love thee so. I cannot love thee, hating thee as well. And from the horror of this growing hell, since death were leaving thee, I cannot go. What issue, what escape, what dreaded move shall rid me from the tyranny of love? 57. The passion of the savage smoulders still beneath the cloak and armor of our age. We are but cowards, whom the blindest rage leaves impotent and paralyzed of will. The moment comes when each man longs to kill, when only blood can quiet and assuage the jealous instinct. Like a pulseless sage we swallow shame and eat of wrath our fill. Yet night and day and night, one face darkens the sunlight, hunts the haunted night, and like a demon dances in my sight, lashing the dormant passion of my race. I warn thee, come not near me, love. Beware, I am that evil force men call despair. 58. Sweet boy, I find thee empty as a shell that echoes all the secrets of the sea. Such music has her favor lent to thee, whose grace, whose beauty I have learned too well. The love, the hatred that I cannot quell, does thee much honor, too much wrong to me. Clothed in her favor, I must look to see thee grow in grace and loveliness as well. She is not thine, O foolish boy. In vain thy short-lived triumph shall a man control this conjured vision of a poet's soul, or steal the captive of his magic brain. Covetous brother of my deep desire, she knows not love, as water knows not fire. 59. I see too clearly through my blinded eyes the wreckage of myself. With helpless shame I have betrayed love's holy, tranquil name, suffered the selfishness I did despise. How shall I dominate? How seek to rise above this cry of self? How shall I tame the eternal savage, who would thus defame the God of love and slay him by surprise? Thy gift was trivial, a smile, a tear fallen, and never to be found again. Yet they awoke a symphony of pain and brimmed the goblet of a glowing year. I lent thee of my love, some love of me, in pity of thy loveless poverty. 60. No more, dear love, nay, never more again shall we together tread love's holy way, we who have held the hungry hours at bay, and torn our pleasure from the teeth of pain. Softly as of the dead, without disdain, let us take leave of love and steal away, for we have mastered him and been his prey, sought him and fought him all alike in vain. And when the faded lilac blooms anew, and the wood echoes to the nightingale, when love, the hunter, with enchanted crew of scent and sound pervades the hill and vale, spring courses through the blood of man and tree, oh then, beware the ghost of memory. Retrospect 61 through 66. 61. As some sweet wind upon a desert land, fallen from heaven with its quickening breath, awakens from the desperate sleep of death a green oasis in a waste of sand, so love that no man living may withstand, whose word no god nor mortal gainsayeth, falling upon life's desert, quickeneth the wilderness made waste by sorrow's hand. While we abide beneath the tree of love, the hours, like golden stars across the night, slip one by one all silently from sight, and in the bending boughs murmuring above, the choristers of joy and praise of thee have stolen thy voice to sing love's rhapsody. 62. In spite of all I say to ye, rejoice. Have ye not change of summer and sweet spring, the music of glad waters murmuring, the moon upon the wave, the bird's blithe voice, the lavish sun indifferent in his choice, the dancing leaves some god has taught to sing, friendship of beast and flower, and this thing, more than all else, the heart of love, rejoice! How small an atom and how separate is man alone, but when in harmony, loving the life of bird and beast and tree, and loving love, and daring silent fate, all nature's forces are as his, and bend to him, who shall be God ere the world end. 63. Who are these twain in undivided joy, coming across the glad, astonished spring, clothed in their happiness, while wondering nature betrays them neither girl nor boy? With clasped hands that cling but never cloy, and eager eyes answering, questioning, like honeybees musically murmuring, their lips in silence, smiling meet and toy, they see not, saving in each other's eyes, while to an undivined melody their bodies sway, advancing rhythmically, and fade, and lo, the fleeting vision dies of those who in some distant Grecian day knew love delicious, delicate as they. 64. Love like a vulture hovers in the sky, while his unheeding victim roams the land, and sees the shadow flying on the sand, and knows not that his enemy is nigh. Throned in the clouds, he utters his hoarse cry. The poet hears, but will not understand, and with uplifted voice, propitious hand, prolongs his praise of love unceasingly. Ugly and eager, brutal with desire, he eyes his prey, and with close folded wing plunges through space and falls like a dead thing, and with his claws and beak of sudden fire clutches his victim's heart that beats no more, while the song mounts more sweetly than before. 65. To live beside thee some sweet length of days, and from mine anvil forge one living spark to lighten us across the uncertain dark, and burn before our memory always, to care not for men's censure nor their praise, their venomed envy and their fangless bark, indifferent as the simple soaring lark whose skyward flight a rain of song betrays. To eat of life as of some goodly fruit, to drink of love as of some gladdening wine, to seek within the human the divine, undaunted by the evil at its root, to fall into the gathering hand of death as some ripe fruit falls to the ready earth. 66. Count not upon a woman. Let her be the fragrance of the spring, the brief delight of the elusive and alluring night that haunts and beckons thee with memory. But in the hour of thy necessity seek not her hand when fortune takes affright, and life's foundations fail, for in thy plight no word will wake her to remember thee. She is not human, she is one with all. Fugitive sweetness she is of the hour, intangible, eternal as a flower whose fragrance lingers when its petals fall. Yet though she love thee, trust her not, nor lend the holy, tranquil, steadfast name of friend. End of Section 4. End of Love's Testament, a sonnet sequence by G. Constant Lounsbery.